The neighbors and all was telling us there's going to be a war. Get prepared, do all your trench, dug hole to make a trench, and start making sandbags.
The invasion of Singapore by the Japanese happened swiftly. After overcoming the Australian troops defending the northwestern coast, they quickly advanced further inland. At the causeway area, the Australian defences held, but they were unsettled by the loss of the northwestern coast. Fearing that the Japanese may attack them from the rear, the Australians began an organised retreat to Bukit Timah. As a result, the defence of the causeway between Singapore and Johor was abandoned. The Japanese pressed ahead and quickly secured the causeway. They repaired the damaged causeway, which had been partially blown up by the British, to impede their advance into Singapore. 2 days later, more Japanese troops, along with Lieutenant General Yamashita, reached Singapore via the causeway.
My dad was teaching at St. Anthony's Boys' School. Now he was a private and he had his uniform. So when he went for duty on the 21st, he told my mother, I don't know whether I'll return. True to his words, in the history of Singapore, January was the day that Singapore had the worst casualties of the Japanese Blitz.
By 10th February, the entire northwest region of Singapore, Kranji and Woodlands was in Japanese hands. The Japanese made their first headquarters at Tengah Airfield. Even at this point of the invasion, Lieutenant General Percival still believed that the Japanese would invade from the northeast and kept his troops stationed at Sembawang and Changi. After capturing the north and western areas of Singapore, the Japanese moved on to their next target, Bukit Timah. A miscommunication led the Australians to retreat from the Jurong-Kranji line. The Japanese advanced quickly to attack Bukit Timah. Bukit Timah Hill was captured on 11th February 1942. With the loss of Bukit Timah, the British also lost their vital food and fuel supply depots. Bukit Timah's elevated terrain also gave the Japanese a commanding view of Singapore City. They could now easily direct artillery fire on the defenders. From Bukit Timah, one Japanese division advanced south in an attempt to capture the city. It would meet fierce resistance at Pasir Panjang. Pasir Panjang Ridge was defended by the 2nd Loyal Regiment and the Malay Regiment. On 13th February, the Japanese attacked the Malay Regiment on the ridge. Despite fierce resistance, the Malay Regiment were forced to retreat. The C Company of the Malay Regiment withdrew to Bukit Chandu to regroup and tend to their wounded. The Japanese pressed on their advance and attacked the company. They attempted to infiltrate the C Company's position at Bukit Chandu by disguising themselves as Punjabi troops. Their attempt was foiled by Lieutenant Adnan, a platoon commander of C Company, who saw through the ruse. He ordered his men to shoot at the Japanese troops in disguise, killing many of them. The Japanese reacted with an all-out assault on Bukit Chandu. The fighting was fierce and desperate. C Company was overwhelmed. On 14th February, the Malay Regiment on Bukit Chandu was completely overrun.